Maybor Stanislaus never imagined that his life would change so drastically. As a young bishop at the age of 30, he held an honorable position in the church, representing 8 provinces in Burundi and overseeing dozens of priests. To him, Christianity was the only path to salvation. Islam, not only was it wrong, but it was a religion he hated with all his heart. But life is a mystery. In 2013, without any intention, Stanislaus attended a debate between Christian and Muslim leaders. Initially, he came with the goal of defending his faith. He was confident he could dismantle the arguments of the Muslims present. But what happened was the opposite. His defense began to falter. The verses from the Quran recited during the debate resonated deeply within him. He started questioning the doctrines he had held onto so tightly. There was something in the Quran that I couldn't deny, he recalled. Those verses spoke with a logic and peace he had never encountered in the texts he had studied. At the time, he didn't know that the seed of truth had been planted in his heart. He attended debate after debate, hoping to strengthen his faith once more. But the more he listened, the greater his doubts became. Quranic verses about the oneness of Allah and the role of Jesus as a prophet of humanity, not the Son of God, slowly replaced his previous beliefs. He was shaken. Had he been teaching lies to the priests under his care all this time? Finally, the turning point came. With full conviction, Stanislaus decided to embrace Islam. I knew this would be a difficult path, he said. He changed his name to Maybor Abdullah as a symbol of his new journey. But this decision did not come without consequences. News of his conversion to Islam spread like wildfire in his community. The church acted quickly. They revoked all financial rights previously granted to him. The house he had lived in, which belonged to the church, was taken away. His reputation was destroyed. He was even accused of being possessed by evil spirits by security authorities. They wanted to see me crushed, but I found an irreplaceable peace in Islam, he said, his eyes glistening with tears. Under mounting pressure, Abdullah was forced to leave everything behind and move to Muyinga province. There he started a new life as a Muslim. Though it was difficult, he felt free for the first time. He continued his Islamic studies in Gitega and at Zawiya school, deepening his knowledge of the religion that strengthened his faith. After months of learning, Abdullah decided to take a bold step. He began preaching to Christians in the 8 provinces he had once overseen. Allah has given me the strength to change thousands of hearts, he said. Within a year, he successfully helped many people embrace Islam. In 2017, his life's journey reached a peak he had never imagined. He received an invitation from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj. He could hardly believe it. I asked myself, is this real? Is God truly calling me to perform Hajj? Even though I didn't have a single penny, he said with an emotional voice. When he saw the Kaaba for the first time, tears streamed down his face. All the pain, betrayal, and suffering he had endured seemed to vanish. I realized that Allah had planned everything for me. Everything I went through led me to this place. This is the truth, and I am grateful for it. Today, Maybor Abdullah is an inspiring figure for many. From a bishop who hated Islam, he has become a preacher spreading messages of peace and truth to the world. True happiness is found in walking the path of Allah, he said with a smile full of conviction. Maybor Abdullah's journey is a living testament that guidance can come to anyone, anywhere, at any time. From a bishop who despised Islam, he transformed into a steadfast preacher on the path of Allah. The challenges, insults, and pressures he faced did not extinguish his spirit. Instead, they only strengthened his faith. Now he continues to preach, spreading the peaceful messages of Islam and helping others find the truth. My life is proof that Allah always has the best plan, he said. With unwavering conviction, Maybor Abdullah moves forward, proving that true happiness can only be found in submission to the Creator. In 2009, Richard McKinney, a former United States Marine Corps, USMC member, came to the Islamic Center of Muncie in Muncie, Indiana, with intentions far from good. His decision to attack the mosque was not a sudden one, but the result of years of deep-seated hatred toward Islam. This hatred was born from the bitter experiences he endured while serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, two war zones that led him to see the world in black and white, where the enemy was deemed unworthy of life. When McKinney returned to his hometown, his anger grew, fueled by the presence of an increasingly vibrant Muslim community in the small town. McKinney felt that the presence of Muslims in Muncie was an insult to the sacrifices he had made on the battlefield. To him, they symbolized everything he despised, and in his rage-filled mind, they were a threat that needed to be destroyed. He viewed their presence as a mockery of his struggles, a direct confrontation with the pain he endured after fighting in the war. The more he saw Muslim children attending school with his daughter, the deeper his hatred grew. "I told people that Islam was a cancer, and I was the surgeon to cure it," McKinney admitted. One fateful day, McKinney went to the Islamic Center of Muncie, carrying a bomb he intended to use to kill as many people as possible inside. The USMC tattoos on his body, particularly a skull tattoo on his arm, made it clear he was not there with good intentions. With his head down and his face flushed red with anger, he walked into the mosque, which was crowded with worshipers attending Friday prayers. For McKinney, this was a moment of reckoning, a mission he had long planned. However, what he encountered there was entirely unexpected. Instead of the fear and darkness he had anticipated, McKinney was met with an entirely different response. The people he intended to annihilate ended up saving his life. As he approached the mosque, one of the Muslim community members, Jomo Williams, who was present at the time, sensed something was off. He was walking a bit fast, his head slightly down, and his face was a bit red, Williams recalled. A sense of unease immediately set in. McKinney, approaching the mosque with burning hatred, was unaware that the people inside did not see him as a threat, but as a human being who could be saved. When he finally reached the group, several individuals displayed extraordinary courage by approaching him. They did not back away or flee. Instead, they confronted him in a completely unexpected way, with kindness and bravery. They saw that behind his hatred was a wounded man who needed healing, not destruction. Even more surprising was the action of Mohammed Barami, one of the founders of the Islamic Center of Muncie, who unhesitatingly approached McKinney and embraced him tightly. Barami, an Afghan native, wept as he hugged McKinney, whose confusion was evident. "To this day, it still doesn't make sense to me," McKinney later admitted, reflecting on the moment. He couldn't comprehend how someone who was supposed to be his enemy could be so full of love and forgiveness. To him, Barami was an unexpected brother who gave him a new lease on life. Following the incident, McKinney felt torn and bewildered. For years, he had been consumed by hatred toward Muslims. But on that most unexpected day, he discovered something far stronger than his hatred: forgiveness. The decision to return to the mosque and try to understand the religion he had long considered his enemy was not an easy one. Yet slowly but surely, he began to feel something he had never experienced before, a sense of peace and calm that defied words. He returned to the Islamic Center of Muncie, this time with a slightly more open heart. He began reading the Quran, and although he initially felt alienated by its teachings, the deeper he delved, the more he experienced a peace he had never known in his life. Months passed, and McKinney began to change. The fiery hatred that once consumed him gradually faded, replaced by genuine understanding and compassion. Finally, 8 months after his dramatic encounter with the Muslim community in Muncie, McKinney decided to take a significant step. He recited the Shahada, declaring himself a Muslim. The moment was deeply emotional, and as he joined the community he once sought to destroy, he was welcomed with open arms and prayers. They did not see McKinney as an enemy, but as a brother who had found his way home, back to the path of truth. McKinney's journey did not end there. Over the next 2 years, he was even elected president of the Islamic Center of Muncie. From someone who once carried a bomb to destroy, he now stood as a leader inspiring others to love and understand one another. He turned his hatred into a force for peace, and he continues to share his life story with the world, showing that no hatred is too great to be transformed by love. McKinney is no longer a stranger at the gates. He has found a community that healed his wounds and gave new meaning to his life. He found brothers and sisters not on the battlefield, but through sincere faith. This dramatic story demonstrates to the world that even in the darkest moments, there is always a light ready to guide someone toward extraordinary change.